Hello and welcome to Magic Gathering Strat. I'm Binkaby, and this will probably be your third limited lesson. Today we're going to talk about signals. And this is a really tricky, broad, ensnaring topic. Very hard to dig into. I've assembled a couple of M15 cards here that we're going to use to build scenarios and try to disassemble how a signal works, how you send it, how you read it, and why you can't trust it. So a signal means basically that if you ship a good red card like Stoke the Flames, you're saying to the person to your left, hey, take red cards because I'm not taking them. And the same goes that if you get a card like Stoke the Flames second pick, it screams pick red because it's open. I'm not gonna take it. So how to send signals is pretty easy. Let's say you have a pack with Hoarding Dragon, Cone of Flame, and Triplicate Spirit. If you want to send a white signal, you take the Cone of Flame, because I think Triplicate Spirit is better than Hoarding Dragon. That's my opinion, but I mean it's close, but that's okay. If you want to send a red signal, you take the Triplicate Spirits, and that would probably put the two persons to your left in red. Pretty good. The same goes for the other way around, of course. Let's say you get a pack where an uncommon is missing, but it's still those two cards, the same scenario. Then you can pretty safely say that the uncommon has to be better than both Triplicate Spirits and Hoarding Dragon, and that's basically just one uncommon in the entire set, and that's Cone of Flame. So now you know that you want to take Triplicate Spirits because you don't want to fight with your neighbor. And that's also one of the reasons why it's so unreliable, because you don't decide how the packs look. So how to send signal is pretty easy. You ship good cards in the colors you don't want to be, and pick the good cards for the deck you want to have. Maybe it sounds completely ridiculous and obvious, like, I don't know, but sometimes you see persons doing something like this. Let's say they have picked Stoke the Flames, Cone of Flame, and they have a decent red-blue deck going. They have like 5 good red cards and 4 good blue cards or something around that. Probably a bunch more. But then they open pack 3 and they get Obnilix Unshackled. Wow, Flying Trample, super abilities. I want to have that. So they take this and ship something like a Lightning Strike. Not only do this mess up the draft, because you're taking a card away from someone else, you're making your deck worse while sending a pretty reasonable splash card to someone else. That's not good. If you're doing this in pack, let's say 2, you have been sent, let's say, a red signal that you have completely ignored, and then you pick like a Cone of Flame in pack 2 and says, now I'm gonna be red. Well, don't expect to get much red. That's all I'm saying. You're gonna get cut from 2 directions. So you can also send signals by doing something like I did when we played a team draft. So I open up my first pack and there is something pretty nice. I don't really remember what it was, but it was something like Flesh to Dust. Reasonable card. Crazy expensive, but I mean it's removal. And that's basically the only good card in the pack besides the rare, which is the green something Twin Grow, I think. The XX that is as big as you have forests, and it comes with a token. So I knew that if I shipped that to the guy on my left, he would take that and he would be heavy green. And that's perfect because I knew that the next player, who was my teammate, likes aggressive red decks. That's what he tries to draft if he can. So not only do I stay away from the colors he wanna be, I also put my opponent into green, which is a fantastic place to be. Of course, my opponent to the left could have picked like I don't know, a good white card, taking like a decent white card and put my friend into green, but you can never tell that for sure. But that's one way to do it. You can also do this and then cut green completely. Let's say you just feed them a couple of green cards once in a while, and then you take the rest. And that's called, I think it's hook and draw or something, hook and stab. I don't really, hook and stab sounds a bit vicious. Anyway, the plan is to send a signal and then cut it so that you mess up another player's draft. Generally that means your deck is going to be bad too, and you don't want that, but it is a strategy that you could use if you want. So how do we read signals? Alright, let's construct a pack here. Let's say that those 3 cards were in the pack from the start, and the player to the right out of this pack, I think you still pick Cone of Flame, the best card and in the best color, so he takes the Cone of Flame and you get this. The rest of the cards are garbage. You know that the uncommon has to be fairly strong, and you should have the knowledge to tell that it's Cone of Flame. You know he's red, so you pick the Obnelix because he's pretty good, and then you get the next pack. Let's say our player, the second player to our right, open like a bomb like Garruk or something, shipped Stoke the Flames and Lightning Strike in the same pack. Our player to our right is really happy, picks the Stoke the Flames, have like the best beginning of a draft ever, and we get the pack with Lightning Strike and let's say something like Welkin Turn maybe. The inclination is to take Lightning Strike, but if we are certain, we know that our opponent to our right is red, I would probably not take the Lightning Strike. It's much better for me and much worse for the player to my left if I take the Welkin Turn and go like blue-black, probably some kind of control, I usually end up in that, and ship the Lightning Strike. Sometimes the card that you think you shouldn't take is so powerful that you should actually take it anyway, but that's the way to read signals. Let's also say that the pack has another pack has like very uninteresting rare, mediocre uncommons, and one card is missing and it's a common, and the only half decent card is Raise the Alarm left in the pack. It could be Triplicate Spirits that they have taken, but it could also be Lightning Strike, but that's basically the 2 cards. Let's say the uncommon is not that unreasonable. Let's say it's Ancient Silverback, pretty good, but not fantastic, not a slam first pick or a bomb or anything. So you could consider taking the Raise the Alarm as the best card, or you could consider taking the Ancient Silverback and avoid drafting the same color as someone else. Usually I think Raise the Alarm and Triplicate Spirits ended up in the same packs, so that's also something to keep an eye open for. Anyway, there's also this chaos factor, especially if you're playing regular, like down at your shop or something, where the packs have not been opened and checked. There could be a pack with like Cone of Flame and foiled Cone of Flame, and they take the Cone of Flame and you're like, oh god, they took a common over Cone of Flame. Well, there's only one common that comes even close, and that's Triplicate Spirit, so they have to be white, and that just messes up everything. So you can't be completely sure about the signals. Of course, the later a good card comes to you, the more sure you can be about the signal. Let's say you get, this is ridiculous, but Lightning Strike 7th pick, then red is wide open. It's like one other play maybe that plays red, and he's sitting like 2 or 3 seats to your left, and that's just fantastic for you. Snap it up and just draft red. And that's also something that players tend to have a problem with. Let's say our start is fantastic, we have Hoarding Dragon, Cone of Flame, Lightning Strike, Obnelix and Flesh to Dust, and then we have like 10 other red cards, filler cards. And then we're going into pack 3, and we have seen some late cards like 8th pick Welkin Turn, pretty late, let's say Amphim Path Mage, excuse me. And you have like 1 or 2 blue cards. So you have equal amount of blue and black, but you haven't seen another black card in ages, because besides like your first pick pack 1 and third pick Flesh to Dust or something. And you think maybe blue could be open because you've seen a lot of blue cards. Then you should probably switch colors. Let's say the pack you open contains nothing, a Carrion Crow and an Amphim Path Mage. I would probably take the Path Mage, have 3 solid blue cards, disregard the 2 black cards which are better, but if you end up with like I'm not sure, blue wasn't really that great, so it's like, let's say 3 Frostlynxes comes back to back and an Illusionary Angel to go with something, then you will be really happy. Instead of playing like a mana base of, you probably need at least 5 swamps to play this and just mess up your whole deck. That's not where you want to be. So that's another way to try to read signals. What it all comes down to is, if you're playing with unknown people and you don't have a clue about the format or what cards is in it, you can't just read signals. The best example for that is, where's the guy? I had him in the first video. There, City Wayfinder. Let's say you played Theros a lot. You know this card's pretty garbage. And then you get this past like 6th, and you're like, yeah, that's a City Wayfinder, nothing to raise your eyebrows about. That's a huge signal. The grave deck is open. Draft it, because it's sweet. But if you don't know that it exists, you can't do that. That's no way. You can't. So, knowing the format and the cards in it, get a feel for what your players around you are doing. You can't look at them or some stuff like that, but let's say you do know the people. Let's say it's your friends. Then you could be pretty certain that if that particular guy ships you a white card like Seraph of the Masses, a good white card, you know that he has to have taken something pretty sweet and probably in black, for example, because he likes that. It's risky to read your friends like that, but it's possible. But what it all comes down to, signaling, you have to be aware of the cards, the format, and what direction you're going, basically. And there is so many different styles you can have. Someone sticks to their plan, forces something. That's a common thing to do. Like, red white is the best thing in Theros. I'm gonna draft that every single time. Even a mediocre deck is fantastic. Then you have the people that picks like, oh, Obnelix first pick, sweet. Oh, I get past the triplicate spirits, that's nice, take that. Oh, third pick Lightning Strike, sure. I'm not gonna take that Carrion Crow, I'm gonna take Lightning Strike. Oh geez, 4th pick City Wayfinder, maybe I'm the grave deck. And then they picked 4 cards. They might play 2 of them at most, probably 2, but they have stayed open. Let's say that it doesn't come any more red nor white, but it comes like Endless Obedience and Rotfest the Maggots, and you open a Black Soul or something, then you'll be pretty happy that you stayed open. So find your own style and try to see signals as some kind of aid and not actual rules. Sounds like the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's not rules, it's more like guidelines. And that's really what it is. But you can be certain that if you get a second pick Triplicate Spirits and there is not a rare missing, they're not white. There's no way. If you get a second pick Welkin Turn, you can't be sure that they're not blue. That's very reasonable that it could be anyway. So It's something you get from experience, but I hope that this explanation gets you a bit further on your way. And even if you can't tell exactly what everyone is drafting and stuff like that, that's pretty harsh. You should be aware of what the players immediately next to you are doing. If you're shipping black cards, you shouldn't take black cards. If you're getting a lot of red cards, you should take them and draft red. It's that simple, but Magic isn't that simple. But anyway, I'm rambling about now. Time to end it. Thanks for watching, or mainly listening, I guess, at this point. I'm gonna put up one more video on drafting, and that's the actual draft portion. And I do think I have a couple of boosters laying around from some set, and yeah, a decent amount. We might crack up like a Theros booster and a Ravnica booster or something. Maybe not Modern Masters, we'll see about that, or Ursa boosters. But just to check how... oh, we have a Cons booster too. Just to check what to pick, what to expect if you have this deck or those cards and stuff. That's what we're gonna do lesson number 4. So until then, please leave a comment, have a great time, and keep watching our videos. We like it when you do it. Thanks for watching.